Welcome back to the WHHI-TV Daily News. With me now is Mayor Phil Cromer. He is, of course, from the city of Beaufort. And Mayor, we've got a lot to talk about because we've had some very interesting days here in the Lowcountry. So talk to us a little bit about Beaufort and how everything went there during our unprecedented snowstorm.
Well, to start off with, we were prepared for the storm. We had both our police department and fire department increased staffing as we went out. We also switched out vehicles, at least with the police department, to go to four-wheel drive vehicles to make sure they could navigate roads. Fire department also smaller vehicles so they could keep the fire trucks off the road unless absolutely necessary. And our public works crew, as they always do in preparation for storms, went out, checked all the generators around City Hall and all of our city buildings. They fueled up all the equipment to be ready. They coordinated with FCDOT to make sure that they were cooperating and supporting one another. They inspected all of our storm drains, as they always do, and our tidal flap gates, which are important for our flooding issues here, just in case we got a lot of rain in conjunction with the snow and ice. Right. They inspected the parks to make sure everything was good to go and no damage there. And during the activities, we actually had no major fires, and that's unusual when you have cold spells like this, because a lot of times it's normally accompanied by people who try to improvise heating methods and end up we'll have fire calls and all that. But we were very fortunate. I think we had two minor fire calls. They responded to fire department to two vehicle accidents. We had 7 medical calls, 1 elevator rescue, and I think they said 1 fire alarm. The PD had quite a few calls. They had assist 11 motorists. There were 2 accidents they responded to. We had 6 911 calls. And had several calls for extra patrols, a couple of disturbances, and a couple of traffic stops over the period. But for the most part, they did a very good job of responding. We had a couple of signal lights out, so Public Works was busy doing that. And again, as I mentioned, they checked all of our parks to make sure there was no damage in the neighborhoods. They checked all the roads, and basically most of our primary roads are clear. It's just the secondary roads are still kind of treacherous because of the refreezing. And we caution people to try to stay off the roads unless absolutely necessary, and be aware of shady areas, because usually there's still going to be some snow or ice in those areas. Right. To make sure they don't slip and slide and all that. But again, we're concerned about refreezing tonight because the temperatures will be above freezing today, and then with the refreezing, the roads early in the morning could be dangerous until the temperature gets above freezing again. So right. We expect normal operations to begin by Monday. So we're kind of excited to get back. We've been out for 3 days now. So
yeah. Yeah, well, it's very interesting that it's, usually in the Lowcountry it snows, if it snows, which is not very often, but if it does, it's usually gone the next day. So to have us kind of iced in for these several days has been definitely different. I think it's pretty incredible that you've only had the few wrecks that you talked about. I think that's great. Hopefully that means people are heeding the call to stay home.
Well, having grown up in the South, I'm from originally, so just up the road, but I can count on probably both hands the number of times I've seen snow, and I can tell you for a fact that people do not know how to drive in the snow down here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? People up north don't necessarily know how to drive very well in it either. So, it's just not something that we need to take lightly, for sure. And so you said operations should be normal on Monday, but again, asking people to stay off the roads as long as those temperatures go down, especially in the early morning hours.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
We've had events that our strategic planning session was scheduled for Wednesday through Friday of this week. We had to postpone that, and there were several other events that unfortunately had to be postponed because of the treacherous road. So yeah, it's going to be a crammed February and March, it looks like. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Mayor, thank you for being here today to share with us about how you guys survived the snowstorm of 2025. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And we'll be back with more, so don't go away.